Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This is designed to help you be a top producer in your desired market. We, of course, help top producers achieve their desired lifestyle in many different ways, which you can find out at topproducersnation.com if you want to look in deeper to our online community and the different programs and resources that we have to help support you as a top producer create that ideal lifestyle that you got licensed for. To begin with, we also work a lot with brokers and team leaders in helping them develop and produce more top producers in their organization through coaching programs, through software assistance, and other elements designed to just add more productivity and even help in recruiting in your organization. So if you want to talk more about that as well, once again, you can check all that out at topproducersnation.com, and you'll learn more about that as well. We are powered on the local level by our Tampa Bay Real Producers franchise here in Tampa Bay, Florida. We're hanging out right now in the beautiful studio on the corner of West Shore and Kennedy. And as you may know, we feature the top 500 top producing agents in Tampa Bay here in this local market. In order to do that effectively, we have to have amazing, what we call preferred partners who support this platform. And you can find all of them at tampabayrealproducers.com/partners. Just click on partners and you'll be able to see a bio of every local preferred business that has been highly recommended to serve you as an agent in the community. One of those partners we get to have in studio here today, none other than Mr. Eric Bunch. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you in studio for sure. Eric is the owner of NTP2 Photography, and you might have seen Eric's beautiful face at a lot of our events over the years. Eric has been an event photographer for our program and our platform now for multiple years. Has done a lot of photo work at our old Whiskey Cake panels and now at Star here in Tampa. Has done a lot of our Agent Choice Awards and pretty much every event that we've run over the years. So it's been great to work with you and have you spotlight a lot of the things that we do. But let's talk about your journey a little bit of how you got to become a photography expert and a video expert and an expert in all things media. Did you grow up in Tampa? How did you end up here? And if not, we'll start there.
So no, I didn't grow up in Tampa. My dad's originally from Tampa, went to Chamberlain High School. Mm-hmm. And so I grew up in Northern Virginia, was moved down here when I was a teenager. Just kind of plucked from my social status there and just moved to a different part of the country. And
cool.
It's kind of a big deal, but yeah, I grew up in New Tampa.
So what brought you to Tampa again?
My dad owned a company where he sold medical products to the government. Okay. So like private citizens, they could sell different materials to the federal government, and that's what he did. So he sold medical supplies, and somewhere along the line, they said, why do we need to buy them from civilians? We can get them ourselves.
Gotcha.
And so the company was kind of shutting down, and so he took the opportunity to move closer to family. You know, my grandparents were in Tampa still, and my other grandparents were in Central Florida.
Okay. So you moved here as a teenager.
Yep.
And then you stayed, it sounds like, ever since?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So at what point did you find yourself getting interested in this whole photography kind of line of work? Was it something you always kind of had an eye for, or did that come much later?
Not really. It came much later. Mm-hmm. I mean, the journey that got me to photography is pretty funny because I went to school for an entirely different field.
Which was what?
Actually automotive mechanics.
Okay.
So right. I was an automotive technician for Ford, went to school with Ford and learned how to basically build transmissions and work on diesel trucks.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of like technical equipment there.
There is, yeah. I have a mechanical mind, so
Sure.
like taking things apart, putting them back together was always something I did.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that was kind of a suggestion as I was getting out of high school is, hey, go do something with your hands that a robot can't take over.
Right.
So that's what I ended up doing.
Did you work for a mechanic? Were you a mechanic after school? Okay.
Yeah. That's what I did right after. I was 7 years roughly.
Okay.
Yep. Did
And
that.
so where did the itch to this start? This whole photography thing.
Actually, my wife kind of got me into it. My wife is huge into photography, not as much anymore, but she has more of an artistic eye. She really enjoys taking abstract angles, but she doesn't necessarily know how to make the camera do what she wants. So she's like, here, set it, make it do what I want. And
You're a tech guy, get it working,
exactly.
mechanical brain.
That's what I typically do. And so she kind of got me into it, and my family owned the last remaining photography store in Tampa. And so I started working there to kind of supplement my income as a mechanic, and started doing that, started learning more about it. And I went into it with that like mechanical mindset. So I learned how to operate the camera really well, but I didn't have as much of a creative aspect to it.
Okay. And so that's evolved over the years, just having an eye for the creative.
It absolutely has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you started going, so I didn't realize that. So your family owned a photography store?
We did. It was called North Tampa Photography.
Okay.
So it was on Bush Boulevard. It was started in 1972. And
It's funny how that whole line of like open stores have shut down basically, right? Is that just because people now feel like they are either because of these things and they feel like they have their own photography opportunity, or what caused the downfall in a lot of those stores in your opinion?
I mean, look at independent retail stores. Now we can order whatever we want and have it delivered to us for $4 within a 3-hour period. So,
right.
I'm not saying anything bad about online retail, but that
just
has made the in-person retail a little bit more challenging.
For sure.
Of an environment.
All you gotta do is go to a mall and be able to experience that.
Yeah, so when we were in the height of our business, because back in the 90s, our store was pretty much the top Kodak dealer for the entire southeastern region of the U.S. And so we sold just hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of units of film.
Wow.
And we were shipping them all over the country. And so we were there for the shift
Kodak
from
days.
film to
that.
digital, right? Like, and that was a big deal to the photography industry.
Yeah.
When online retail started becoming a thing, we were getting a lot of people just looking at cameras and then ordering them online, saving tax. Because at the time there could have been a warehouse like right outside of Florida, so you'd save on the sales tax.
Right.
So we started doing that. Getting that kind of was big competition for us.
Yeah. So when did NTP2 start?
My dad actually helped me start that. So he came to me one day and said, "Hey, we're going to start a new service called NTP2," and I started promoting it, and then he came to me and said, "Hey, you're going to be a full-time photographer, and you're going to go out there and work with people as a photographer." I was already working as a photographer in the community, but I had my career as the store manager.
What year was that?
Retail store. This was in 2015.
Okay.
When we started that service, and we assembled a team. We were kind of going out in all different areas of photography.
And what's the genesis of the NTP2? What was the point of the name?
So when we actually started, it was called NTP 2.0. So we referred to the store as NTP for short, for North Tampa Photography. And so when I went to go make a web domain and start getting traction as a business, we just dropped the 0.0 and it just became NTP2. So
it's cool though. You got the legacy then. I don't think I recognize that.
I've thought about changing it. A lot of people ask me, they're like, why don't you change it something around your name? Like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it's kind of a continuation of what my grandfather started, because my grandfather started the store. He was a big photography influencer, in the 70s in Tampa. Yep. So it's just kind of continuing that that message and what he started.
I think it's cool when people know the story. I think there's a
lot of people don't realize the story, so I don't share it too much because it kind of takes you all over the place there.
Do you have the story on your website?
The full story, no.
Okay.
I don't.
I would recommend that you put it there.
Yeah.
I think it'd be neat. Even just a short video on you telling the story of North Tampa photography.
Well, good thing I've got a video of me telling the story right now.
It happen. Yes. I think that would be kind of cool. So that's just a little suggestion. That's all.
Yeah.
So you were leaning into photography. Now, did you find over time that you developed a certain niche of the type of photography that you really enjoyed or wanted to do more? Whether that was portrait, weddings, business events, functions, or did you do everything? What was the focus eventually?
So I enjoy being tested, to challenged, I should say, not tested. But so I learned all different aspects of photography. So if I've never done it before, then that was something I wanted to really lean into and master that skill. And so that's something I started. There was a gentleman that started mentoring me, and I still look to him as a mentor today. I think he's really part of my success story. A gentleman named George Salmon. He was a photographer. He taught at USF, like continuing education, and so he really took me in and taught me studio portraits, lighting, and at the time he mainly just did fashion photography. Mm-hmm. So he worked with professional models, and so I learned that side of it. And I thought, hey, I really enjoy this part, but how can I utilize that in this area and kind of, blaze my own trail, if you will. So I took all that experience as a studio photographer and lighting and understanding how to control light. And I said, all right, how do I take that out into the community and do that with portraits of people in their business? Mm-hmm. And so I shifted from working with professional models to working with people that most of the time don't even like to be in front of the camera. But obviously today it's so valuable to switch up and have continuous changing photography of you in your business, not just behind the scenes, not just one headshot, having the ongoing content.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So your focus on business, was that pretty early in the process?
It was, yeah.
Okay, so I know the business technically started in 2015, so you were already starting to serve like the business community pretty soon after that. Did real estate just naturally fall into that pretty early, or did that something that evolved later as well?
It did. It fell into it really early. I was going through a transaction. My wife and I were buying a house, and where our office was, where our photography store and my studio was, right next to it was the real estate office that we were going through. And so I just marched over there one day and just said, hey, I can take pictures of your listings. Mm-hmm. And this is back in 2009. So this was not common of a practice.
Oh, so you still had the old store open at that point?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It was still open. So this was way back. I just said, hey, if you need any pictures of any of your homes, I'm thinking like out-of-state buyers, things like that.
Yeah.
And so because the broker knew that I had a transaction pending with their office, I think she just threw me a bone. She's like, hey, let's just keep him happy. Mm-hmm. And she sent me to a house to go photograph it. And the very next week, I was in their team meeting being presented as, hey, you need to hire Eric as your photographer to do pictures of your listing. Stop doing it yourself and have him do it because that listing I had photographed was under contract within 48 hours from that out-of-state buyer. So it just elevated the presence of the listing.
It's interesting.
And that was still back in the day, like where, you'd take your own photo, right? Like you're seeing yourself in the mirror.
And I feel like a lot of agents still try to do that. I don't think necessarily a lot of the top producers are trying to do their own photography. Producers aren't doing that, but I do get messages from pictures every now and then. I don't see as many because MLS standards, you can't be in the photo. Right.
So we don't see the reflection in the mirror. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed those pictures, but yeah, you don't see those anymore. But I mean, some agents do take their own photos. So
right, they do. From your professional opinion, I mean, what do you think is the impact in terms of the benefit for the agent in working with a professional like you to get different quality of photos? And I know you do more than just photos, right? Mm-hmm. You're also at the video piece. You can touch on some of the other services if you like, that you also provide. But what type of like end result outcome do you generally see that creates for the agent, whether that's just day on market decrease, the house sells for more value? Highlight a couple of those things.
Well, it does a couple of different things. So I'll talk about the homeowner, the seller first. By showing up with a team, a support team, it really elevates their status as far as the value that they can create. I mean, if you go in there and you say, hey, I'm going to take the pictures, I'm going to do the measurements, I'm going to fix things up, I'm going to stage it, I'm going to organize it, versus I have a team that does that, it really sets a different level of value, in my opinion.
Makes sense.
As far as how that's viewed to the seller. As far as the content, this was now in 2019, 2020, where things were kind of flying off the shelf, and there's still some that they know that the listing is so unique that it will sell pretty quick. But I've always looked at it as sometimes that content is not to help you find a buyer for that one, but it's to help you find someone that needs to sell down the road. So it's not helping you with that transaction, but it could be helping you with your next one and the one after that and the one after that. So
having the long game in mind.
Exactly. That's what I said in 2020 when things were just going, and there was a lot of cases where they didn't even make it, online because they knew they already had someone, lined up that would buy it. But I said, no, you still need to photograph it because you need to share this activity because someone could be watching and seeing this, and that's going to help you, 2 years down the road, 7 years down the road.
Yeah. In your opinion, the quality of the photography that a listing has, is that generally, do you think, based more on the skill set of the photographer and the eye that photographer has, or on the quality of their equipment?
It's hard to say now because the technology has changed so much that now within the cameras, I'll talk from a retail perspective now, like the technology, they're just putting like bells and whistles on it, if you will, like GPS and touchscreen and things like that. So I've known photographers that can still produce a pretty good image with maybe 10-year-old technology. But what it helps is it helps to expedite the editing process and to get the images done faster by having a little bit more current technology. As far as the quality is considered, I do think it takes the right eye because there are a lot of detail things that we can go and pick on. So when I get to a house, when I go to a listing, most of the time I'll bring my camera in and I'll just leave it right there and I'll say, hey, take me a tour of the house. And I'll let them know, hey, I'm here to help bring the most value to your home. And if I see something that I think could be distracting or might be something that would be unpleasant to look at, then I'll let you know. But it's your home. If you want to leave it, it's fine with me. So that's what I do is I do this walkthrough with every single listing, and I walk through and I'll check blinds, check what are in the corners, what could be viewed under the bed, if there's tags showing, if there's pet dishes, all that kind of stuff.
Is the agent usually there when you're doing this?
So about half of my agents are there because they like to be engaged in the process. Some of my agents trust me to go and represent them because I've got such a long-standing relationship with them. I've been working with them for 6 years or so, some of them. And so I'll go and represent the team and say, hey, my name's Eric Bunch. I work with so-and-so team.
Right.
And they trust me to go in and do what I need to do.
Right. Do you have an opinion either way? Does it matter to you if the agent's there or not? Do you feel like it makes a difference in the process?
Depending on the agent.
Okay.
Right? Like
sometimes they can get in the way.
Well, not only that, sometimes they can have feedback if they weren't there, and I'm saying, hey, maybe you should have been there if you had this kind of feedback.
That makes sense.
So I think that's
where they have strong opinions on on what was produced.
That's where I'm like, hey, well, if this is what you think, then you should have been there. They'll say, why'd you leave that couch there?
Right.
You should have moved it here. I'm like, well, maybe you should have.
Right.
Maybe you should have been here to be involved in that conversation, right? Like when I do that walkthrough.
Right.
So it really just depends on the agent because some agents will call me and say, hey, just go in and do what you do. And if it's the first time I'm working with them, I'll say, no, let's have a conversation. I want to learn more about you and figure out how can I photograph the house to give you the content that you need within your business.
Right.
Agents all specialize in different areas. Some of them might just take any listing they can, but some might focus more on waterfront properties, on condos. So I want to find out what do they need that could be more unique.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think the more you can customize the finished product to the needs of the agent, that just, is going to hit home a little bit more effectively, I would imagine, right?
I agree. And I'm not out there to work with someone one time. It's not valuable to me.
Yeah.
So I want to create that long lasting relationship. And so doing these steps is what helps me for that long term relationship.
What are some of the other services that you provide on top of the photography?
Over the years, we've kind of narrowed it down a little bit. We started doing all levels of photography and video. So we've narrowed down to mostly working with commercial applications. So on a corporate side, we'll work with bigger companies on different content with headshots, corporate events, video production, training videos. And then on the small business side, it could be some of the same services, a lot of branding, marketing, content. There could be small events, there could be award ceremonies. On the video side, we've gotten pretty good at doing these on location, training videos, lifestyle videos, like kind of within the business, showing what's going on in that day.
When you're working specifically with an agent or even like a brokerage that brings you in to spotlight the brokerage or agents within that brokerage, is it usually for photography services, or are you finding that you're providing more video-based services for agents specifically, or even just to showcase a listing? Is it more video that agents are looking for nowadays? What's your experience looking like there?
Most of my business is photography, but when I get brought into the video projects, the video projects are normally more involved and a more consistent basis. So like some people ask me, oh, your business sales, like what percentage is video versus photo? I mean, it's really split down the middle just because the video projects are more involved, and we could be doing a package of, 10 videos or 20 videos,
right,
or we could be doing it monthly. So,
right. So you probably do more photography by quantity.
Yes.
But obviously that's going to be a lower price point than something of a video project.
That's
going to
exactly right. We've been doing a lot more video lately, especially for listings. Really, there's got to be some kind of creative way to get this out. And right now, I'm focused on trying to showcase the culture and the environment of a home instead of the mindset of just like, let me rapid fire through this. And it's the best way I could describe it is like when Airbnb started. There was a lot of pictures showing the environment and the vibe that home has.
Yep.
So I'm doing the same thing within the listing side to try to create that. When people are looking at it, they say, hey, I think I can go and sit here, have coffee, relax in the morning. Hey, this would be great to work out.
Yep.
And so they can picture themselves not just in the space, but like truly in it.
Do you have, I know we've talked about this a little bit off camera, but I'm curious for people who might not know the answer to this. Do you find that agents work with you on wanting to create like a brand video series that just is designed to position them a certain way, right? Rather than spotlight a particular listing? It's just more about their reputation, their brand, or the brokerage's reputation, brokerage's brand, so that they can create online content around that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I would say most of my clients are the working behind the scenes that, and very few of them could be like, really questioning the level of social media and how involved it really is. So sometimes I say, hey, you should share this. And they're like, oh, that's a good idea. And I think, well, that would have been the first thing I would have thought of. But so some of them do video from that kind of perspective. A lot of them just keep it focused on the listing and the transaction itself.
Yeah.
We've done video with the agent specifically, but I'd love more of that. So more opportunities to.
Seems like it would be kind of like a storytelling type content, right? Which if I'm an agent today and I want to distinguish myself separately from all the other agents that are out there, because God knows there's a lot of them, right? That's definitely an angle that I would encourage, that I would lean into, is creating some content that is going to tell a story behind it, that is going
100%.
to tell my story and how I'm unique and different, and who my audience is and how I serve them and why I love serving them, and all of that stuff and content. You can just build off of so much. There's so much you can do with that when you have it professionally done well.
Yeah.
That I think that feeds itself into a whole machine of content that can end up benefiting you for many, many months and years.
I agree.
Right? Rather than
we're at both extremes.
just an individual listing, right?
Yeah, and I think we're at both extremes. Like we've got the individuals that really understand the value of that, and the ones that are kind of dabbling in it right now.
Right.
So there is the transition they'll need to make to really see value there, especially if they want to stay relevant.
Without a doubt. Yeah, no, I think so too. I mean, if I'm a top producing agent, really any agent, even if I'm not a top producer yet, but I want to be, that's an angle that I think could really help me get there.
Absolutely.
So maybe we can get more agents to be on board with that strategy.
I would love
We have
that.
some amazing professionals to help you get there, like Eric, of
Absolutely.
course, and Rob over there can also help in many ways with
That's
this.
right.
We have some of the best in the business to help you turn that into a reality if you like that vision. I'm curious this question, Eric. You can correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but I feel like in some ways there's a lot of misconceptions that agents, I would say, probably a lot of business people have when it comes to your industry, where like, I don't know, they think, oh, I'll just do it on my phone in some cases. Not the top agents, as we've already talked about. Mm-hmm. But if there was like one thing that you wish agents really understood, right, about your industry, about your business, is there something that comes to mind? What would you want them to know?
Man, my first thing, like that, sometimes editing takes time. That would be probably the top of my list.
That's probably the hardest part of the work in some ways, isn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes it can be, and that's been something we've really been working on, is how to expedite and decrease that wait time and get the content back to the agents as quickly as we can. But I'm not too worried about the phone part. Someone asked me this years ago, and I'm not worried about it at all, really, because it still takes that person. It still takes that individual to have that perspective, to have that angle. So as much as you carry around, this mini computer in your pocket with a great phone and 50 megapixels and all that stuff, but you still have to have someone doing it. So even for the agents that are doing their own content, I do think that's important, because they need to diversify their content to do some off the cuff, very raw type of content, and then you need to do stuff that's very polished and very clean and overly produced and production kind of level.
Right.
But it's still. Someone asked me, like, aren't you afraid you're going to be replaced by this? No, because I'm the person controlling the camera. So
right.
Even if they carry around something, they still need to have someone to do it.
Right. And like you said, I mean, at least in my experience, even we create a lot of content we're in a media profession here with real producers. It's the editing piece that seems like it's really the magic, right? Like that's where the time is invested, and that's really what takes kind of like, it goes well beyond the quality of the camera, right? When you think about the quality of the editing, and that's a skill that a professional, in my opinion, really needs to have in your industry.
I agree.
To be able to separate themselves, right, and do well. Just like an agent needs to have certain skills to separate themselves from other agents in your industry, I think that's really, in my opinion, where you separate yourself mostly from other people in your industry is your editing skill set. Not only how quickly you can deliver that, but how quality that is, and that's that finished product that people really remember you by.
Absolutely. I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they talked about the type of camera and the quality versus a phone, and I said, you got to keep in mind, where are we viewing this photo on? Like, most of us are viewing the content on our phones, but what if one of my photographs needs to make it onto a billboard? Then I need to have that level of resolution that this would not have.
Yeah, I get it. No, it makes all the sense in the world. What role, if any, do you have after you gather your content, you have the editing piece, which is part of your industry? Are you involved at all, or do you offer services in the actual marketing spot beyond that to help that content get marketed for the agent? What role, if any, do you play there?
So our company started this year was because it's been a challenge for, not necessarily on the real estate side, but like on the professional side. So getting the clients to download the content and utilize it.
Yeah.
They'll say, well, I don't know if any of those pictures really, generated any business. And I said, well, cool, you didn't even download them.
Right.
Like,
hard if they're stuck in a drive somewhere.
That's basically what it is. And so we started saying, all right, we'll follow up with you. And if they say, well, I just haven't gotten around to it, it's still, lower down on the priority list.
Yep.
All right, we've got a couple of partners that works within NTP2 that will share that content. So we'll create a social calendar, and we can go through and generate that content. And then I just share it with the partners that I have. and then they'll share it online. So we started doing that.
So this is year. This is something you've built internally.
That's something we started this year was to do that. So we're still on the light side of the number of clients for that. So we just have a few right now, but looking to add more. Just because that's been our biggest challenge is how to take that content and them to utilize it.
Yeah.
It's no different than real estate. They take the pictures, they post it to MLS, and then it never gets shared anywhere else. It's not valuable.
Right.
That's not valuable to them. It's not valuable to me, right? Like they're not seeing the value that, hey, that picture of this unique area of the home generated me 2 more deals, right?
Yep.
Like, so
and
that's
it's funny
been
how
my
even
challenge.
just one picture like that could do that.
It really could.
If it's marketed the right way and it's actually put out there properly. So I think people underestimate the power of that. So, and I agree with you. Think about it from that standpoint. How many great pictures just never see the light of day because they're stuck in
all the pictures I have
somewhere.
that never see the light of day because we're producing so many images every year. When I do presentations or if I make a flyer, I'm going, which pictures do I choose? I mean, we're delivering like 50, 60,000 images per year.
Right.
Typically, I'm like, how do we manage that? So.
Right. Yeah, I love the idea, and I think, again, I'm not in your industry, obviously, and I'm grateful that I'm not in many ways because I got enough to do on my own, but I love working with people who have skills like you guys do in this space because I do love marketing. I love the mindset of trying to get creative content in the right people's hands in certain ways, and so as a professional in media like you guys are, the ability to hopefully have that next step, I think, is a way that you can really differentiate yourself too from a lot of other people in your world. And I know based on what you just said, it seems like you're already leaning into that a little bit more. I think that's really smart to provide that service because all you're really trying to do is provide that convenience, right? It's not that the agent doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's just that priority of time, priority of everything else, juggling 800 things that's going on. If you can figure out a way to provide it for them and charge more for it, I think a lot of people would accept that and pay you for the convenience.
I agree. I think it's a great value for them because they're taking the content that, like you said, wouldn't see the light of day.
Yeah.
And we're repurposing it to generate maybe new listing appointments, or it could be, for anything. I mean, really any professional.
Totally.
Trades right now are a big one that most of the trades are starting to do more pictures.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it could work for any business, right? We're living
really
in a world that is digitally revolving around digital in one way, shape, or form, and so I don't care what business model you're in.
Yep,
partnering with a professional that's going to create great content is key. Let's go through a couple quick little rapid fire personal things for people to get to know you a little bit more on the personal level. I know you're a family man. We've talked a little bit about it off camera. So, and I know your faith has also been a big integral part of your life, which is something we're aligned on too. Married. How many kids again do you have, Eric?
4.
4 kids. You're catching up to me. You're a crazy man.
I have
just
4
like
boys.
I am. 4 boys, and they're all how old?
15, 14, 12, and 4.
Wow, you do have a house full there.
And
are they into sports? What keeps you guys busy when you're not just jamming at work?
My oldest just got into sports, so he's actually in the bowling team. So that's been I know nothing about bowling as far as the sport of it.
I was a duck pin bowler as a kid.
Well, you might have to talk to my son about it because we had a conversation with one of the pros there, and after about 5 minutes, I said, "Are you understanding this? Because I have no idea what this gentleman is saying. How you throw the ball down there."
Is he doing like the big real bowling or like duck pin stuff or candle pin? They have candle pin ones too.
No, he's doing the
real one.
Yeah, the real one.
All right.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I don't think my hands were big enough to do that effectively. So I was like literally from like 8 to maybe 12, I was doing duck pin bowling.
Oh no, yeah, he's got the full on thing. Like I saw one of the kids, they scored like, I think it was 279. I didn't even know you could score that high.
That's really good. Wow.
So yeah, we just bought him his first ball yesterday.
Some skills, huh?
So yeah, he's really getting
a perfect
into
game, by the way. So
279. I realized that after
right on the moment.
I just had never seen anyone bowl that high, and so I realized, wow, there's a whole lot I do not know.
Yeah. It's it's an interesting sport for sure, but if there's people who go to our church that this one good friend of mine and his son are really good at bowlers. I think he's had like 8 or 9 perfect games.
Oh wow!
In his career, and
maybe you'll have to connect me with him.
Yeah, maybe so. He's a lefty, a little southpaw. He's got the curve going, all that stuff.
Well, my son's throwing with his right hand, but he makes it curve right. which most people
Oh,
throw
he
the
does
right
the
hand
inverse.
and make it
the
go
natural
left.
curve is the draw from
Yeah,
right
and
to
it
left.
like looks like it's going to go left, and then he does this little spin last second. I'm like, how'd you do that? He goes, I have no idea.
My man's got some skills, huh? And
He
it's
does.
working.
He's going on 2 weeks now, but yeah, the other
I mean, if
kids,
he's
my
bowling
other
270, how old is he? 14.
15.
If he's bowling at that
He's
level,
not bowling at that. That was some other kid, not my son.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
got
no,
you.
he
Okay.
didn't bowl that. We're not talking about his score.
Some other kid that
Yeah, another kid I saw scored 279. My son
funny.
he's getting up there. He's over 100 now. So that's,
Oh, there we go. So
yeah,
he's making progress.
Yeah, he's getting there.
I was about to say, my man's doing 279. He's already rolling
No.
professional level scoring at
No,
this point.
he's not. Nope.
So, what is a favorite like book or author seminar that you've ever attended that you feel like has made an impact on you personally or professionally, Eric?
You know, there's a book that I'm not a huge reader. I really try. I've got all kinds of books. I've got them all in my Audible account. I try to listen to as many as I can. I have to go with short books, but one that I just read last year, it was Who, Not How by
I love
Dr.
that book.
Benjamin Hardy.
Yeah, it's a great one.
And that entire mindset, and especially you talked about how faith is definitely important. Years ago, I just said, hey, this is who I am. I'm going to put my faith forward and utilize my work as an opportunity to spread that awareness, right? And so that book, the whole mentality of it is, instead of creating this, like, the best I can put it is, and you've already read it, but for anyone that could be listening that doesn't know, you could create a checklist of, a to-do list of 100 things that you need to do. And so the whole mentality is, instead of thinking at how do I get all these done, but who can I connect with, empower, influence to be that person to do that and to build beyond that.
Yep.
And that the whole premise of that book was fantastic.
I love that book as well. I couldn't agree more. It helped me in my business in many ways and continues to this day. It's really just a mindset shift. It's really as simple as the question that I think most people use as their go-to. Whenever the topic is, they have goals, they write out their goals, and the first question people think about is, how do I do this, right? How do I get there?
Yep.
How do I hit that goal this month or that goal next year? Or how do I do this or how do I do that? And so it's trying to retrain your brain from that being your initial question to who can I work with that'll help me hit this goal, right? Who
and
do
to
I
take
need?
it to another level, like
Totally. Yeah.
who do I need to get not just accomplish that, but who can I, go and work with to do that and do 100 more things?
Without a doubt. Hence the title of the book, Who, Not How, right? Starting with that who first. So a great read. Recommend it for anybody, especially in business, but I think it's applicable to anything that you're doing in terms of just leverage and productivity and all that fun stuff. So that's good stuff. Do you have a favorite TV show or movie, Eric?
Oh boy. My wife and I get in these habits of watching the same series of shows that we've enjoyed. So Psych is one of them that we watch over and over again.
Haven't heard of it.
That's a good one. My favorite movie, I'm a big action movie buff, so I like anything with action. I would say my favorite, like if you ask me for one, I would say Days of Thunder. Tom Cruise, Robert Duvall.
That's old movie, right?
It is an old movie.
Yeah. I don't remember the movie, but I remember the movie, the title of it, but I don't remember like the details of the actual movie.
NASCAR
I think I've
racer.
seen parts of it. Yeah.
Old dirt track racer and,
Gotcha.
and started racing for NASCAR.
Days of Thunder.
Yeah, Days of Thunder. Now that Robert Duvall just passed away recently, so it kind of made a comeback on the watch list.
You're the first one who's brought that up, so it's a good one to throw out there.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it.
Do people say the same thing, like the same movies?
Yeah, I get some of the same stuff. There's some common threads that get thrown out, especially with books too.
Yeah.
I would say Rich Dad Poor Dad is a common book that people throw out on the show. We hear that a lot.
Okay.
That's a common one. What else, Rob? What's another big one that you think of? Yeah, that's a Dale Carnegie.
That's a good one.
That's always a common one that gets thrown out there.
I've got another book on the other element, Dad Tired.
Oh, really? I've never seen that.
That was a fantastic book. It entirely, and I love the analogy that they used when people are going through something.
Yeah.
In the times of darkness, their mentality was, most people say like, hey, that's a different season of your life, right? Like you're just going through a season. Where he would describe it as you're in different parts of the wilderness. And just, I'm an outdoor person. I like to go outside. My kids are involved in Scouts. So that connected really well with me. And so, Dad Tired. I can't remember the author exactly, but that was a short one.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
It was a pretty good book.
I can definitely relate to Dad being tired at times. That's
with the number of people in your household, you definitely can.
There's some exhaustion happening on a regular basis. All right, we're gonna put a bow on the episode with one of my favorite questions. Well, actually, I got two more for you.
Okay.
As a photographer, what was the favorite project that you've ever had? Whether it's just a photo or a video thing you've done, is there something that comes to mind as a favorite project that you've ever created?
Some of the ones that I really enjoy, because the reason I got into this business, which we didn't even get into, was my brother had gotten sick and passed away, and so he was at a young age. So I know that's a lot to just dump on you just right there, but
we'll have to have you back.
Yeah. Anyway, so my analogy with photography is that the photos will outlast all of us. It'll outlive all of us, right? And so I try to come at it where I'm creating this photograph, this media, to last a lifetime and to create a legacy.
Yeah.
And so I've worked with several authors on portraits for their book cover, and I really like those. Those are really fun because that's something that is not just being spread online for, a couple of weeks at a time. This is being printed and passed, and just knowing that work is going out there, and that book could outlast that person. And I worked with several, from people with breast cancer to, there's one woman I worked with that it was called The Final Quarter. And so it was all about the fact that, how she had made 75 years of this life and what she was planning on doing with the last 25.
That's cool. And
just knowing that I had a part in that is really cool.
Yeah, that's very neat. I love that. There's definitely a legacy component to that actually ties very well to our last question, which we call the legacy question, which is really about the idea of when that day does come many years from now and you're sitting on the rocking chair thinking about what you'd want your legacy to be and what's most important to you, whether that would be personal or professional. What are some of those thoughts that come to mind for you in terms of the type of legacy you'd want or what you'd want to be remembered for?
Yeah, so what I strive myself for is that knowing that I did things and did it in an ethical way. I don't want anyone to ever question that I wasn't a good person or I didn't treat them fairly or I wasn't nice to them. So at the end of the day, if my kids know that I went out there and was being the best version of me that I could be and loved on people, treated people with respect, that's the most I could possibly ask for. If my legacy is that alone, that I was a good person, I'm remembered for that's enough for me.
Very cool. Well, I could tell you that from a business standpoint and for even on a personal level, from how I'm getting to know you over the last couple of years, that I have that opinion of you for sure.
Well, thank you.
And you've provided a lot of value to our platform, and we thank you for that. I know that any agents, brokers, anybody out there who's going to need some assistance in not only spotlighting listings, and that's always important, but in also, like we talked about earlier, building your story, right? And capturing the essence of your story. I would highly recommend that you connect with someone like Eric, because I know that he stands behind his work and he can do a great job in making sure that he does it well. If somebody wants to reach out to you, by the way, and pick your brain or connect on any of your services, what's the best way for them to reach you?
They can reach out on social media at NTP2 Photography. It's on any of the major social media channels. My website is ntp2.com. So that's the reason I keep that is, it's 3 letters and 1 number. So
that is
a
nice
pretty,
and
pretty
short.
Valuable domain.
And now that I understand the North Tampa photography piece of the story, I think it adds even more value, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we got to get that up on that website, man. Let people know
legacy.
what N2P. I imagine a website homepage where it's what is N2P2? Question mark.
Yeah.
And then it's your answer, the video of the story of N2P.
Well, I'll plug this in there.
See, my brain's always thinking for these different branding components,
awesome.
Right? We're going to end the episode the way we always do, a challenge to the audience. So if you are listening right now live on Facebook or YouTube or listening on any of your favorite podcast platforms, whatever that might be, what is one thing, one action step that you can take right now from our conversation today with Eric that will help propel you forward personally and professionally? So that way you lock in the value of listening to this episode. Maybe you just need to have somebody in your corner that can do a good job in telling your story. Eric obviously is a professional in that manner, and he would love to have a conversation with you on how to get there. Maybe you do have a particular listing that you think you need to upgrade your photography for, or you just need to add a great photographer into your network to be able to provide that service ongoing for you. Maybe you need to pick up one of the books that Eric recommended as a little action step. But no matter what it might be, let's take action on something so that way you can lock in this value and make sure. It could just simply be that you're subscribing again to this show, Top Producers Nation, at topproducersnation.com, or click the little subscription button on YouTube so you can be notified every time we drop a new episode. We have tons of resources for you at topproducersnation.com to help you grow your business, whether you're an agent, whether you're a broker, whether you're a team leader. Our commitment is to help you not only produce as a top producer, but to have the lifestyle that you want as a top producer as well. So we'll see you on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. We'll see you later.